Brian joined us last week. Great conversation listening to him and Nathan kick around Notre Dame football. But I got to tell you this, Brian, in your aftermath of trashing the Michigan series, then I was pelted with all sorts of phone calls and comments and so forth, including from the Rod Farva here, who called me the next night, who was and the Rod Farva is an Ohio State fan. So he's sticking up for the arch rival here. He was a bit offended in regards to the Michigan series being discounted and not wanted, even though Michigan's had the winning record in recent years. I think 7-4 is what I counted in the last 11 meetings.
It's about right. I don't think it just isn't a series that does a lot for Notre Dame. I mean, Michigan fans can get mad about it all they want, but when Notre Dame and Michigan play each other, Michigan fans complain about, why are we playing this team? And then Notre Dame stops playing them, and it's, oh, why won't Notre Dame play us? So that's why I said you can't win with them. And I don't know what playing Michigan does. Notre Dame's going into Michigan's backyard and beating them for the guys they want anyway. So what does playing them and beating them do for them? Look, I have a lot of respect for what Michigan's history and tradition, but it's just not a game that does a lot for Notre Dame. It's never a game that's really mattered as much to me. It's never been as important as the USC game to me. It's never been as important from a history and a tradition standpoint as the Navy game. I'd rather play Michigan State and Purdue. Nathan expressed, I think, that same opinion. And when you look at the fact that all the complaining that Big Ten fans do about why Notre Dame isn't in the Big Ten, do some homework. Michigan's the reason Notre Dame's not in the Big Ten. When Notre Dame wanted to join the Big Ten, it was Fritz Chrysler who said, no, you can't do it. And so now all of a sudden Notre Dame becomes this national power. Now all of a sudden the Big Ten says, hey, we want you in, because they know that it's going to mean a lot more money. And that's, to me, what it's all about. So you can get upset if you want, but I just don't really care about that series. It's not a series that ever interests me. If Notre Dame doesn't play Michigan again in the regular season, I won't lose sleep about it. If they schedule Michigan, okay, as long as they're good, to me, is it going to help them build their playoff resume? That's what I care about.
Now, I know on the Michigan side, we've got a guy come on here, Steve Dace from Michigan Podcast, and he doesn't like to play Notre Dame for this reason. It has nothing to do with Notre Dame. It's playing a quality opponent when you only have 3 non-conference games. Therefore, if they play Notre Dame every year, they can never go out and play another quality Power 5 opponent without overloading the schedule with too much difficulty. So
it's because especially in the East, they got to play Penn State every year. They got to play Ohio State every year. They got to play Michigan State every year. So yeah, it's all of a sudden now you play Notre Dame in the non-conference. It's the way that the schedules are now. It just makes it a lot harder to have those kind of games.